everybody, and welcome to the I Rock Knits podcast, WIP Confessions 2021. Today I'm not going to do a regular podcast, but I am going to be sharing with you my project bag tree. I'm going to be opening them up and seeing what I have in there, and some of them I haven't opened in years. I do have a pretty good idea of what's in some of these bags and whether or not I want to get that cast on or finished up or frog it or whatever. Not a big frogger. I really think that there should be a knitting hospital specifically for projects to go, to be rejuvenated, to be reborn, or to die, but they should go home with someone else from that hospital. I've talked about that before. If I have a sweater that I don't want to finish or it's not fitting me very well, I would like there to be a place that someone could gather that item, post it on Ravelry or Instagram and say, would someone like this? And then that person could purchase that project from me in all of its glory and then fix it or finish it for themselves. But then I would get some money to reinvest in perhaps even the same yarn, but yarn that hasn't been knit before, or yarn that I didn't have to rip out, or yarn that I didn't have to cut apart into 26 little balls. And then that way the person could take my gift and say, I'm a perfect size 42 and this would fit me wonderfully, and I would be happy to take that off your hands because you've already knit 3/4 of it and you could go off on your merry way. So someone in the world needs to do that, right? Here's my sweatshirt that I got from Amber for Christmas. We'll give knitting advice for tacos. I'll give knitting advice for free. But if you have a taco, I'm all in. Tacos, nachos, quesadillas, any of that. But I thought it'd be fun to wear it today because it's oversized, it's super comfy and cozy, and I'm just gonna go through these bags. I'm hoping that this doesn't take too long. I told my husband I need 20 to 30 minutes, which means it'll take an hour. It just means that he has to be quiet in the house and keep the dog in the garage. So, first bag, I know what's in this one because I've been able to see into it for the last 6 years or so. I have got my Ravelry open, so I'm going to be able to check and see when I started these projects and if there is a name for them or the designer or whatever, so I'll be looking to the side a little bit, but that's okay. This is the first project, and this is lovely yarn. It's rust in color, and it came on a cone, and I didn't have a lot of it. So I was desperately out there seeking more yarn. This is Art Fibers Ming, and it is lovely. I had 2 cones of it. This is made out of silk and wool, a merino wool, 286 yards to 100 grams, and I had 1,040 yards to begin with, and I wanted to knit a sweater. But I didn't think I quite had enough for like long sleeves or a long body. And so then I changed my mind and decided that it was going to be a poncho. And I found some for sale on Ravelry. And I purchased this kind of creamy colored Art Fibers yarn. So there's the label. That's how it came to me. So I got some of this cream because then I could do color work at the top. And then I remembered that I had purchased from Stephen B some really fun yarn with ball chain on it. And I thought, wouldn't that be fun to knit that in at the yoke and let that ball chain hang out? So I wrapped that all around this cardboard piece, and I have to weigh it and figure out how much I think I have because I don't know how much yoke I can do. So I'll probably have to cast on top down and figure out how far I can go and then graft the bottom onto it or do a 3-needle bind off around a low part of the yoke if it's a poncho. And that's what stopped me, right? It's not that I don't want to try this. I think it will be super fun, really interesting, novelty yarn. It's a little stretchy, probably nylon, and then it's got that ball chain that matches. So there you go. project number 1. I started this in 2017, January 1st of 2017, and it's still sitting because I've had so many iterations of what it was going to actually be. I'm also going to have to check and see if it will still fit around the bottom. I don't know. It's stretchy. It looks like it might be wide enough across my bottom. It's very pretty, very shimmery, shiny. So definitely gonna finish and go back in the same bag and sit on the top of the bench in the office for another 4 years until I'm knitting again. I don't know how long. I'm knitting it on big needle, size 8, so shouldn't take that long. This is a bucket bag from DarnKnitAnyway. I love these. I have got one. It's from Shaggy Baggy. Kind of fun. Okay, one down. I found this in the bottom of a bin. This is my Sun Valley Fibers Minnesota Vikings colored plaid hat, and I already made one and I had this yarn left over. So I will either make a second hat and gift it to my nephew because he's a huge Vikings fan, or I'll make a matching cowl. But I love Jeanette's yarn, and I knew what that was, and it's in a clear plastic bag. So this is a bag by on it, and it was a bag by a podcaster who didn't have a business but sent it to me a number of years ago. Super cute, sparkly snowman, and peppermint candies on the inside. And what is in this is a kit that I bought to make these monster mittens. And I have gray and yarn barf and some rainbow to make those mittens. I love knitting mittens. Mittens are super fun. But since I started designing, I don't have nearly as much time that I use for knitting for myself. So this was Mustache yarn and fiber. It's Sweater Girl yarn. The monster mitts are by Julia Allen. She also had a really, really popular monster cowl a few years back. Some of you may already own that pattern and know what I'm talking about. But there are the mitts. And I know that's in there. It's all like it's kitted, ready to go. It has never gotten cast on. All right. I don't know if I know what this is. Oh, sure I do now. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is fun. Oh, my. I was literally going to make something out of this. Not what I thought. Okay. So I have this. This is what's in this bag. It's a sleeve for a sweater. Increases. I was not going to design a baby sweater, but I wanted to design a adult sweater with this neck construction so that you have this folded part like that opens up so you can fit it over a baby's head. And I found a baby sweater from many years ago by Isolde that had a similar opening, although this is knitted in a different direction, and so it's garter, but it had the pattern, and she's got buttons on hers. So what I have in here and what I was actually working on are two different things, and I'm wondering if I cast the sleeve on to knit up to the neckline to try to work it out in my head how it would work on a smaller size before I actually moved on. And then for some reason, I'm also holding the yarn doubled. So I'm using these two together, probably just to get gauge, I'm thinking, on a bigger size. I still want to make that sweater, but it's kind of good to know that that's what's in here. And I'm probably looking for those double pointed needles several times in the last few years and wondering why I didn't have. I'm going to guess that those are about 8s as well. So in this bag, I love this fabric. Oh, I just think it's awesome. This is Ocean Patch Creations bag. And I just love that. Okay. It's a keep. I think I'm gonna need a new system for designs that I'm making, that I'm working on, so that those are separate from like because that's what's gonna happen here is we're gonna get in. Okay, I know what this is because I can always see through it. This has been hanging on the door in the office for a year. I started this to take to a knitting retreat. And this is the shift cowl. Oops, and stitches are falling off the end. And I think what I decided was I was going to be too tethered to the pattern to knit it at a retreat. I think I took it along, but since I didn't get far enough to kind of understand how this, it's all slip stitches, you know, and then you switch. You have different skeins of the yarn. I have 3 skeins with orange in them. And this one has, well, this doesn't really have any orange now I'm looking at it, and a blue. So this is what I planned. And I really want to make that, but again, I sit down in the evening and I think, should I knit on a design that I'm going to sell and, you know, build my business? Or should I knit on a personal project, something that I just want? So, because I don't know that I'll get to it. I think it would be fun to knit. Oh, this is a really good one. I may call Stacy. Poor Stacy, she watches and now her heart just went all aflutter. It's just because I don't know how soon I'm going to be knitting again. And this is lovely. So this is all Jill Draper Make Stuff yarn. And this was we went up north to the cabin fishing, and I worked on this exclusively in the car and all the way up there. Oh, I got a anniversary card in here from my husband. My husband is a really good card picker-outer. My wife, my partner in life. Hand in hand, we've met life's challenges and changes. Side by side, we've shared our most precious dreams. Together, we've made a beautiful family and a loving and lasting partnership. Corey, you are the very best part of my life. You make me laugh, cheer me on, keep me going, and yes, help keep this family going. And I appreciate you more than you could ever imagine. That's why I grow more in love with you each year. I'm more grateful than ever that you are my partner and wife, my lover, and my very best friend. Happy anniversary. Love, Ross. And it's kind of bent, but I think I'll keep it in that bag because that was super nice. This is my trail sweater. Not many people have knit this, and it is just stunning. Look at how pretty that is. I bought yarn that was almost all the same colors. She didn't have 2 of them in the exact, so we got a shade that was really close. I wanted to make it very similarly to that. And this is the sweater. This is how far I am. I'm doing the increases, and I think I'm getting fairly close to changing for the sleeve, breaking for the sleeves. I felt like the neck hole opening was a little big, so I may need to pick that out and make it a fewer stitches. We'll see. As you get further down, sometimes your perspective changes, but see how that's probably 2 inches wider than this one on either side, which could be okay depending on how the whole sweater fits. And then I'm really struggling with the increases, the raglan increases, because they're all supposed to be done in brown right there, but your pattern doesn't always, and you're doing your increases, and my brown stitches do not look great. And so there came a point in which I was going to say to myself, you're either going to duplicate stitch over the top of that all the way down with or a crochet chain to make it look really visual, or you should rip it back and do a better job. Sometimes once you get going on something, you get how you want to make that change happen. So, this is just awesome yarn. And I just would really love the sweater. But color work right now with my thumbs is not happening. Because you have to hold it a little tighter and swap the yarns around. But I knew it was in this bag because I I don't carry this bag anywhere. This is this one, which I love because you roll down the top and then it's got that buckle on it. And then you can carry it this way, and then it has the long strap. The only thing I didn't love about this bag was that it was gray. I really wanted a color, and back in the day she wasn't making a lot of colors. So, anniversary card and a really lovely sweater that I would love to have finished this winter, but that's not going to happen. But I will definitely keep that on the needles. Okay. Oh, this one's heavy. Oh, this is oh, I know what this is. This is my friend Renee had a Etsy shop called Browndog Bags, and this is a Christmas dog bag. I just love. And the reason that I know what this is because I knit this sweater. This one. And I was knitting it in cotton, and I knit in the movies, in the round, stockinette in the round in cotton for weeks and weeks. We were going to the movies a lot back then, and I took it out at one point and it was so wide, way too wide for me. So I knit inches and inches and inches. So I put it on my ball winder and ripped it all back, and then I sent it to Stacy, who is a sample and test knitter, and I said, I don't want to re-knit all that body because I already knit it once. And so, boy, it's wrinkled. I need to fold my things when I put them back in the bag. So this is the Hadley Pullover. It was a February bang out a sweater with the modern day knitting ladies several years ago. And I did not knit it then. I cast it on after. But I knit the entire thing, as you can see, and I washed it and the red bled. And I threw the colors, pieces of the colors in water prior to starting, and everything seemed color fast. And the red bled into the white, which is, want to do. And I was so mad because I had checked it ahead of time. So then I washed the red in some citric acid to set it, and ripped this out, and now I don't have the heart to refinish it, right? Like now I'm like over it. Like Stacy fixed it, I knit it, I got it done, I washed it, it bled. And now it just sits in this bag because I'm still mad at it. I'm still frustrated. And there's there's a little bit of color work, which I don't mind doing, but honestly, color work in cotton is not super easy. So I was knitting this with yarn, Fantasy Naturel Solid. So I'm going to fold it a little better to put it away this time, which is fine. Lovely yarn, and I like a cotton sweater, and I thought I could wear it, in the summer, especially when you're going into air conditioning and that kind of thing. But next bag on my tree. Oh, this is a design, and I can't tell you what it is, but it is a color work cowl, a long color work cowl that I cast on with fingering weight yarn, and it is a typical Corey style. I'm using Heritage, Cascade Heritage, and yeah, it got put on hold. I remember now. It's got corrugated ribbing and my Corey's cast on at the bottom, which is so fun. It just looks so good. I love that. So this is going to go in the design side. We're going to have design things that need to get worked on over here. I'm going to get a new tub or tote or something for those items. Okay, a little itty bitty bag. Oh, okay, I know what this is too. And this is stockinette. This is going to be my Friendship Road skirt. And it's just a really nice, lovely yarn. I have a bunch of skeins of it. So it's a design, and I just need it knit. So I could literally size this and send it out to test knitters and sample knitters because I've got the pattern's pretty much written and I just need it knit. And so I could literally get it off my pile of things. if I sent it to someone. Okay, we're getting toward the bottom. I'm leaving those top ones on because this thing can get real wobbly. Oh, this is this is an almost finished sweater. I bought a bunch of Cascade heathers on sale at my local yarn store, and I got a lot of colors, and I have a ton of it. But this is an entire body and 2 sleeves of a sweater, and I was gonna make it for my dad or Ross. My dad's a big guy, and so I don't think this is big enough. And what I figured out is that the bottom ribbing gathers in quite a bit, and it needs to be probably ripped off the bottom or just blocked heavily because it makes it blousy at the bottom. And then I found a pattern that I wanted to make out of it, and I don't know if it's in here, but it's color work. Oh, I know where it is. It's in my sleeve. And it's gonna have flowers at the yoke, pink, hot pink, and off-white. And I thought I could use this as a sweatshirt for myself. And so my husband got a kind of a brown, rusty brown sweater from me, and then I didn't think he would like this one. But it's like almost done. And look, it's got needles in it. And my favorite, square needles, square double points. Okay, so needs to get knit, needs to be finished up. Need to figure out whether or not the gauge for that flowered top is correct for this one. It would take a weekend and that could be done. That would be super fun. Okay, is it gonna tip? Nope, this one is super heavy. This is literally come to Jesus moment for me. Amber will know what this is before I even get started. This is a sweater design that was going to be in the Minnesota 52 book, and it didn't make it. And it's a top-down collared V-neck tunic with great shaping. And so I cast it on in this colorway, and it was going to have set in shoulder shaping, so you wouldn't have to do a raglan. And it was gonna be called the Sticky Wicket Sweater because this color is glazed pecan or glazed toffee or something like that. Let me look. Glazed pecan, sticky. Oh, and I got it started, and then I got mixed up on my top shaping, so then I was casting it on in Steve and Andy's Leading Men Fiber Arts yarn, and there are only 2 skeins of that in here, so I don't know where the rest of the skeins are for the rest of the sweater, so I probably need to find that out in the world. And randomly there's a needle in here with more design stuff on it. Oh, wow, you guys, this is a pretty stitch pattern. What was I making? Oh, wow. I think this might have been a design. Oh, now I gotta figure out what that is. Oh, I hope I have notes about what I was doing for that. I think that this was part of the Friendship Road concept. Memories. Okay, design side of the table. Let's take another, we've got 4 left. This is another sweater that I ripped back out. I was making this one, the Huron. I did all that color work, and it just didn't have any bold lines. So I ripped it back out. There's a picture on, I'll show it. There's a picture on my project pages of the before and after. I knit this whole sweater and did the whole yoke. And then the yoke was just so poorly done for me. I switched hands. So my dominant color was not always in my left hand, which is, I know better now. I wonder what year I knit this. So I started this in 2015, and it was Barocco Remix yarn, which I hear is just lovely and feels like a sweatshirt and gets softer and softer as you knit it. And here's the tag, Barocco Remix. It has all kinds of stuff in it. Nylon, cotton, acrylic, silk, and linen. It's all meshed together. And I just ripped it back out because I just couldn't do that yoke. It just, what the problem was is that the little V's and the chevrons were just a single stitch, and they didn't pop out enough to, it just looked like a conglomeration of little dots as opposed to like little V's. And so it was probably my tension and the yarn I was using just wasn't a good fit. And so I was going to use this for a future design yoke because I have the whole body and the sleeves, so I can put any yoke on it I want. So I have to decide if I just want to knit it plain and maybe put some stripes at the top and move on. But this would be a great sweatshirt sweater to just, the whole thing is knit. Gosh darn, the three big sweaters that are almost done but got set aside when I started designing and never came back to them. Okay, these are the colors for the brown sweater flower top. Separate bag, they're not together. I have this one and this one and this one to do at the top of that brown sweater, and then I have a light gray for like a little bit, tiny bit if I need it. So, wow. Okay, cascade. I gotta put that, all that together, the brown one and this one, in a bigger bag, so that, or something bigger, so they're all together, because otherwise I'll go looking and I won't find it anywhere. Okay, this will be fun. I thought I ripped this out long ago. Okay, this is by Lee Meredith, Lethal Knits, and this is a Flying V's cowl. And it's in Tarja, and I thought it would be really fun to knit. I chose this color palette, and I have this much done. And just never got back to it. And I literally thought I re-knit this, you know, I ripped it out and I didn't apparently. So yeah, when you're you either have to decide when you're this far along to just finish it up, because it shouldn't go back in a bag for another 5 years. Look at this cute stitch marker of Cody. I had those made. It's Cody wrapped in a little red and white. Those are one of my favorite stitch markers to use. Oh, and I forgot to mention the last few bags. Oh, sorry, folks. Okay. The bag that this one is in is a Silver Shed USA bag, and that's the Firefly one in pink. And those are the kids in the field with the fireflies. The bag for the remix is a patchwork quilt knit stitch bag that Anne made for me from Silver Shed. This is my favorite bag. Of all my bags, I love to have the long strap because then I can throw it out as a crossbody, even if I have my purse. And I picked orange knit pearl stitches for the back, and then Anne printed red, green, orange, and blue fabric, cut it and quilted it in, that's actually quilted, and made it up for me. She's amazing, and she's willing to do anything custom. So this is a great bag, and I haven't used it because it's got this sweater sitting in it, so I'm going to swap that out as well. And this sweater is in the Knitting Pipeline bag. This is the Knitting Pipeline Retreat bag that Amy Beth of the Fat Squirrel did for 2014 and I don't know if this is the year I taught at Knitting Pipeline or the year after or before. I taught 1 year at the local yarn store down there as part of the retreat, and then we went 2 other years, I'm thinking. But yeah, 2014 Fat Squirrel bag. Okay, the next one is the Leftovers Cowl, which I was casting on, I think with Amber several years ago. And all it has in it is a giant pile of mini skeins. It's just got all the Sun Valley minis, which now I have pilfered from. I have used minis out of here to pilfer for other mini skein projects. So I have to decide if I'm ever going to get that one knit. Probably not. That's a lot of knitting for something that I wouldn't get to wear that often, because see how big it is? It's big and bulky. And I just don't like spending time outside all that much in Minnesota in the winter. I don't think I would wear it to walk in at the dog park or anything. And it's a lovely pattern by Wendy Johnson. But I might have to give up the ghost on this one and just use these minis for, you know, something else, because these are lovely. I have a big, huge pile of them. But I did cast this on at one time, but there's no cast on here. So I must have ripped it out and gone back. Yeah, here's all the labels. All right, one more bag. Okay, this is a design for next year. I do know what this is. I'm surprised that I have it hanging on the tree, because I know that it's a knitted design. I don't know that I want to share too much about this one at all, because it's a really clever idea, and I want to do it in Christmas colors and other colors. And I have it in this anymore, but it's certainly cute. And I put it in a Christmas theme bag so that I'd remember. Okay, then I have a big giant orange bucket sitting right here. And I know what this one is too, because you can see it on the top of the, and this makes me sad. This is my Knit Cahoot sweater, a rainbow sweater without the problems. It needs to be steeked. And I ran out of red. And I have searched high and low for red yarn to match. Let me show you. I have this skein, and I have this skein, and I have this skein. And every time I get a red from someone, it's not the right red. It doesn't match. The dye lot is off. And at this point, I guess I don't think I care anymore. This is shepherd's wool, and they've got 3 reds in their colorway line, and I just need to knit that red little bit on the sleeve and finish it so that it's done. It's a super cute design, and I've called the company, I've called yarn shops to check for the dye lot that I need. And I've had 2 people on Ravelry send me yarn that I thought was similar. This is the closest one I think that I've gotten. It's what I would call a dark red, but not this red. So it's not the bright red I don't think it's the Christmas red. But then when I called the yarn mill and I asked, and I sent her a picture, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's our Christmas red." And I said, "I don't think it is." And then she sent me some, and it's just a different dye lot, and I just need to get over it, right? So that sits in the office on the bench with the other open things, and I don't work on it. I haven't finished it. And I have 2 blankets on the needles, so I thought I would just quickly share them. This one's in this giant orange basket that I got at Shepherd's Harvest a number of years ago. This is my attempt at learning how to crochet a blanket. It's a granny stripe blanket. I really liked doing it. I'm doing a much better job now of turning around and going back the other way, which is what made my other one before problematic. I throw all fingering weight scraps in this. Here's the pattern. It is by Attic 24, which all of you will have known because you will have seen that before. Here are my notes about how to turn around and go back the other way. Then I have a little accessories project bin in the top of this, and just all the skeins of yarn. So I would love to get back to crocheting, but that's a really dominant right-handed thing, and that is not happening for a while with this one. And then I told you the story of Stevie's blanket that I gave him for thought that he had to finish. And I need to knit that, work on that. And I love working on that one. Like, that will be my choice every night when I sit down in the evenings. I will say, oh, that's the one I want to do. I don't have to think, and it's really fun to change colors all the time. I don't mind weaving in ends. That's not problematic for me. So anyway, that's a good one. I think that's it. I think maybe that's all I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can't count them all, but I think there's like 13 or 14 bags here. And some of them are designs that now have been separated to one side, and works in progress are separated on the other side. This is my bag tree. I got it on Amazon. They have all different kinds of them. What you just want to get is one that has lots of places to hang hooks, right? And don't get one that just has 3 hooks at the top, because that doesn't work very well. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 places to hang hooks on it. It was under $40, I think, when I purchased it. I know other people have gone out and gotten one similar. It was very easy to put together. It has a weighted base, so it's heavy, so it doesn't tip too much. I'm just going to go take a walk through the office and the family room and make sure that I didn't miss one. Imagine that. I found several more project bags over by my chair. So I opened this project bag just about a week ago, because I wanted to try knitting, and I had knit with the bulky yarn, and this was fingering weight on little tiny needles, and I didn't know if I'd be able to knit on it or not. But I knit my sheep hide hat by Kate Davies. These are the sheep, and then here are the rams with the horns at the top. And so many years ago, and I purchased the kit from Jameson Shetland. You got, 10 or 12 skeins of yarn, and it was like $90 to get all this yarn. But I thought, I'll have a really nice start on all these different skeins of yarn for color work for the future. And then it came, and I knit my hat, and almost all the yarn was left, right? I had so much left. So I sold all the balls to my friend Jan for like $30 at Knitting Group, and said, if you want to knit the hat, and she did. And then when she got done, she gave me all the yarn back. And so she just used her, which I probably overcharged her, Jan, if you watch this, because I don't know that this is, a $30 yarn value, but you couldn't buy the yarns because there's so many colors in it. So I think I have, 10 or 12 colors, like I said. So when I got it back, I was like, oh, well, now I don't think that this is next to skin soft for a cowl around my neck. But someone out on Ravelry had made mittens. They'd taken the sheep off a mitten, and they'd put the sheep in the ram's head. So I had knit the cuffs on the mittens, and I have double points here, so they're kind of, everything's hooked together. But so I started working on them, and I did the legs and a sheep body on one, and then the legs and part of a sheep body on the other. And I can do a few rounds of this a night, and then I have to rest my hand, so it's not going real fast, but I know that mittens won't take that long, and I can probably get them done. And as long as it's sitting in front of me, I'll pick it up and do a few stitches. I've got the chart right there, and we're just following there. It's not an actual pattern, we're just following this one. So I have tons of skeins attached to these 2 balls of yarn. Look to this. It's crazy because I just lifted them off the table. And then I have this in a bag because I'm going to finish this up. This was going to be in the Knit Cahoots Minnesota 52 book back in the day. It was going to be a matching hat for the cardigan sweater. It was going to have rainbow owls around the top. So this is all the leftovers of all the colors for the rainbow owls. But like I said, I ran out of red, so I stole the red from this bag to work on the sweater, and then now I don't have any red left, which is not a problem, but I really like this brim. And I don't think I need to muck it up by putting owls around the top anymore, right? Like, so I'm gonna do like a simple cable or textured stitch at the top of this, and maybe just do a rainbow star at the crown and have it be a design. So that's in one of my Matt bags. He takes old men's shirts and the pockets, and he has it, or the buttons, he makes them into bags. I asked him if he would do a red and black one for me, and so he did. He does sell these bags on his Etsy shop when it's open, which is, it's not always open because he works a full-time job and doesn't always have stuff in there. So about a year ago, I saw my friend Jenny, Java Jenny, knitting the Ready for Fall sweater. It's by Isabel Kramer, and Jenny's palette is a neutral palette, and so I went out and was looking to see if anybody did it in any bright colors, and I found one that I just fell in love with. I was just looking at the sweater. I've always wanted to knit more of the Isabel Kramer designs, and the one that I found was this maroon sweater with like black and gray and white dots around the bottom, and so I cast that on using County, the big balls of County yarn, which is really rustic and woolly wool. So I know that it'll, and got the sweater. Now I'm getting ready to do the color work, and I hadn't ordered the gray and white and black County yarn. So I ordered it, and now it came, and in the meantime, you know what happens? You get out of your knitting mojo, and you are not moving forward, and so now the yarn's just sitting there looking at me, and I know that I have this lovely sweater to finish that was very recently, on the needles. It's not from a long time ago, but I just need to get that yarn on the bottom of this. So that Jenny gave me the inspiration for this one, and the woman who knit the lovely, I happen to have this color in my stash. This used to be my all-time favorite color, kind of red burgundy. Was my wedding color to have red. So I love that. And then the other one that I have on the needles, and I don't know where the bag is right now, and I'm not going to go searching for it, is the Night at the Museum. It's the Koigu Chevron Tunic. Tons of colors. It looks like a Missoni. Chevrons all over, all the way down, long tunic. I bought packages of it when we went to Webb's a year ago in October. And I may need to just get some help from some of my sample knitters to finish some of this so that I can just move forward in designing, because I just feel like I have so many designs in my head that I want to get out of there and keep designing. And so personal knitting kind of has gone by the wayside a little bit. So thank you so much for spending time with me today to go through this. I don't know if it was fun for you, but I thought, what the heck, I'm going to open all those bags anyway. I was going to sit on the floor in there and do it. And the camera was set up from podcasting earlier today. And so I thought, I'll just go sit out there. I had Ross carry the tree out for me because he had just come home, and I knew I probably couldn't lift it with my hands. And so I've just sat here, and it's kind of past part of the afternoon. So I appreciate you spending that little bit of time with me. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep it colorful. Bye. Love you all.